How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we're back with a very important deadline stream today. We're going to be taking a look at Double Game Week 26. I was going to do a video last night because they announced a whole bunch of fixtures, which are very important to how you're going to be playing the rest of the season in Double Game Week 28 and Double Game Week 29. So we'll take a look at that as well. We'll go through your questions in the chat as per normal, and we'll take a look at some of the Fantasy Football Scout stats tables because I think those are always very important to the deadline stream. You get to see an insight on Fantasy Football Scout and how their tables work and that sort of stuff, and it is going to be quite useful, I think, to see what potentially gains you could have, what players, if you're looking at them, might be better than what you thought or worse than what you thought. So we'll take a look at that as well. Just setting up one of the tables now, actually. There we go. And there we go as well. So I'm going to move that back. I'm on a -8 right now, might be a -12. I've seen everything this week. I've seen -4s, I've seen rolling a transfer, I've seen using 2 frees, I've seen -8s, I've seen -12s, I've seen -16s, I've seen -20s, I've seen free hits, I've seen wild cards, I've seen bench boosts, and I've seen triple captains. I've seen it all this week. So before we get started and talk about all of that, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So, Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic members area. We're going to see some of the tables today. You guys know the drill. Use the link in the About section if you want to check it out. I believe it's £25 for the whole season, and you can get a preseason offer if you do sign up during the preseason. And then they have the new beta area as well, which is in testing, but it looks fantastic. Yeah, make sure to check it out. But without further ado, let's see what transfers I've made. Alright, that's the team up on the screen. Row I7 says, I use the free hit. Do you recommend Kane or Son or both? I think if I was going to pick one specifically this week, Kane as who? Man City. I just have the fixtures off to the side. Man City and Burnley. Probably say Kane, I think. Just Kane, yeah. Nobus agrees as well. I think just Kane. I think probably Son is better for... I think Son is better for the City game, but again, it's versus City, so it's a bit more difficult. And I think Kane would be better for the Burnley game. So in that instance, I would pick Kane because he has the easier fixture, even though they both play in it. So, yeah, I would go Kane if I had to choose. I always have Son maybe, but never Kane. Yeah. I mean, there are, different different views on it. Playing them both, yeah. I mean, yeah. If it's if it's a one-off free hit and you think they're going to destroy Burnley or they're going to put up a fight versus City, then yeah, go for it. As a Spurs fan, I have both. See, Nova's on your side. It would definitely be different. It would definitely be different. It would also probably mean that you could go... if you're on a free hit, that means you'd probably be... You'd have to go probably double Liverpool defense if you were going to go triple Liverpool. Because the rest of the team would be tight with if you have Kane, Son, and Salah. So yeah, that'd be definitely interesting though, for sure. Very interesting. Now, I made some transfers last night. I'm having Allison, Arnold, and Salah. Okay, there you go. Makes sense. Gabriel, Tierney, and Saka. Okay, I see it. I see it. Makes sense to me. Um, Me personally, I might have gone. I think Virgil van Dijk is not 100% guaranteed to play both games. I think he's probably the most likely to play both games out of all the defenders. Basically, when Van Dijk is fit and available, he's played. Like he hasn't, he just doesn't miss games. Unless literally there was like Champions League final the next day. Then yeah. Is Rafinha a bit of a gamble? I don't think so. I think Rafinha's fine. I think his fixtures are difficult. Should I go with Virgil van Dijk and Ramsdale instead of Gabriel and Allison? Yeah, me personally, that's what I've gone with. But play. If you want to go the other way, it's different for sure. I think Gabriel has good goal threat. Allison's gonna play both games. Guaranteed he'll play both games. Like, there's no way Allison's not gonna play both games. Excuse me, pardon my yawning. All right. So the transfers that I made. So I'll bring up the transfer screen to make it easier to see. So I replaced Van Dijk with Johnson. So Johnson, I had in my team. I thought he was going to play some games earlier in the season. He didn't. And basically, since I had him, he just stopped playing. Basically, he played the 45 minutes and then just never played, which is unfortunate. So we brought in Van Dijk for Johnson. We also brought in Salah because Salah, we brought him in instead of Bruno Fernandes. As a replacement for Jota, we brought in Coutinho. I think Coutinho this week especially could have a very good game versus Watford. I like his fixture versus Brighton. He has a double in 28. And just an easy midfield slot to kind of hold there. And I think this week is a better pick than Cancelo. So I'm going to play him. And then lastly, we got rid of Edouard, who, although he had a double, Weghorst has a double-double. So he's got... I don't think Edouard starts the Chelsea game. I think that the Palace forms have been like pretty eye-opening. They don't want him to play. They want like the likes of a Benteke or Mateta to start. Even though he was on fire a few weeks ago. So maybe that ship has kind of sailed on him. Been yawning a lot this morning. So I'll hopefully try to stop that. So yeah, we went with Weghorst. He's going to have... I think Edouard only plays the second game, if anything. I think that means he's only going to have 2 fixtures, where I think if Weghorst is fit and available, he'll play all 4. And Dice says, like, yeah, he should be fine for this one. So, yeah. I need to get rid of some stuff off the old glasses. There we go. Now we can see in full. I'm bench boosting. Yep, I've seen bench boost. I've seen triple captains. I've seen everything this week. The cheaper option, Rawi, would, like Iwa says, would allow you to get other gains elsewhere. So if you want to look for other things in your team, you can do so, which would probably be Van Dijk and Ramsdale because I think Van Dijk is slightly more expensive than Alice. Actually, they're probably about the same. Actually, I'm not sure what the pricing would be there. Without Salah, the armbands on Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think Trent's a good triple captain this week. I think he's a good captain this week as well. Um, I don't see anything wrong with it, to be honest. I just think that Salah's fixtures are so good. Like the teams, so like I think if you were triple captaining this week, I think you put it on Salah. I think if you're triple captaining at 29, when they have Brighton and Arsenal, I think you put it on Trent. Because I think the fixtures are better defensive wise versus Brighton and Arsenal. Because Arsenal don't typically score too many goals, and Brighton don't score too many goals. Whereas in this one, they're playing two teams that have terrible defenses. So Wolverine says I've Region, and he has the Rona, Broha, or Malpe off the bench. Who does Malpe have this week? Malpe has Burnley at home, and Broja has Everton at home. I would say probably say Broja just because Everton's defense is probably worse. I would say. That's how I would see it. I think Broja's probably. I mean, they're both in like decent form. Yeah, I would go with Broja to be honest. I think Everton are a better team, but who knows? Mope might do well versus Burnley. That's a tough one actually. Very tough. I think Everton's defense is probably worse than Burnley's, to be honest, recently. And funnily enough, we can actually bring in one of those tables. Captaincy against, sorted by XG conceded. So this is one of the tables in the Fantasy Football Cup members area. So this is basically how bad is the team's defense. And if we look at it, funnily enough, Everton's over the last 4 matches has been better than Brighton's. So better than way better than Burnley's. Burnley's actually hasn't been that good. So maybe Mope then, according if you're looking at this table, Mope. Everton's defense has got a lot better. So maybe Mope then. If we're looking at that. I'm having assume he means Seiss and Kilman double defense for Wolves. Should I bring Tarkowski instead of Seiss? Tarkowski has the double. So if you have the spare transfer to bring in Seiss in 27, or not in 27, in 28 when Wolves have the double, then you can do that afterwards. So if you want to play Tarkowski this week, have him for next week as well. So you have the double, so you get an extra fixture out of him versus Wolves' fixtures. Wolves would have Leicester, Arsenal, and West Ham, whereas Burnley has Brighton, Spurs, Crystal Palace, and Leicester. So you get an extra fixture. Yeah, I think I would have Tarkowski this week. Potentially. I think his fixture is probably slightly better. Alternatively, I mean, you could also just like split it up as well. So you could be like, I'll have one Wolves, one Burnley. So you kind of hedge your bets a little bit. But yeah, if you're on the free hit and they're just on your bench or whatever, then it doesn't really make too much of a difference. If you have like Arsenal and Liverpool players in your team, or if you're going 5 at the back, then yeah, sure, I would probably go one of each maybe, but that's just me. Sterling to Son for -4. Free hit next week. Sterling to Son for -4. Well, you have to expect that Son's going to play both games. Will Sterling start versus Spurs? Probably. I think that's probably fine. You're banking a little bit on that Burnley game, though. It's a bit of a tough one to call. Because City could win 1-0 and if Sterling could get the goal or something like that, and then Son doesn't do anything versus Burnley, it's a bit tricky. I think that's kind of a tough one. Just because City are at home in the first game. I'd probably do it just because of double game week fever. That's just me. Taking a -8, De Bruyne, Jota, and Edouard, and Sanchez out for Ramsdale, Salah, Jimenez, and Saka. I think those are fine depending on your chip strategy. I think that looks to be quite popular, especially for people that are wildcarding. Why are people selling Bowen and Cancelo? Probably on wildcard. So like if you were there, so basically there's a wildcard team that you can draft up. We can draft up here in a second. And you've got Salah. Well, that's probably fine. If you're on a wild card, people are doing it. Managers are doing it because of the fact that they are either looking to potentially bench boost in 28, and gather up those double game weeks, and whatnot. So the teams that I've been seeing is something like this. So they have like 2 goalkeepers. They have like triple Liverpool. They'll have like triple Arsenal. So they'd have like, let's say, Saiss, Kilman. Who would be their 5th defender? Like Tierney or something. They wouldn't have Coutinho. They wouldn't have Bowen. They might have Rafinha. They'd have Saka. I think Ramsey would be on the wild card too. Oh no, they wouldn't have them in defense. They'd have like Digne. I mean, they would have Coutinho. They have Jimenez. Trying to think if there's someone else that I'm missing. Oh, maybe they have Son. They don't have Rafinha. They'll have like Son. And then they'd have another cheap forward. I'll just put Dennis there just for argument's sake for now. They'd have a team like this, and basically what they're trying to do is they're either they're setting up for the bench boost. They're looking to, I guess, triple captain Salah in 29, maybe. But what it does is in 26 it gives you basically a full team of doublers because you can bench your triple Aston Villa, which are good for 28 when they play Southampton and Leeds, right? So you can bench those guys. You can play the rest of them. So you'd play a 4-3-3 in this case. So you'd have Van Dijk double, Trent double, Saiss double, Tierney double, Saka double, Son double, Salah double, Jimenez double, Weghorst double, Dennis double. Some people have Lacazette too. It's just personal preference. If they don't have Ramsdale, they could have Foster here instead, and then they can have Lacazette up front or something like that instead, if they have a little bit extra money or whatever. And then going into 27, they would have so in 27 they'd free hit, so it wouldn't really matter. In 28 they would have the doublers from the 3 doublers from Aston Villa. They'd have Wolves double as well. And and then they have a bunch of other decent players, and then they'd also have, so they have basically six doublers in that. They'd have at least six doublers in the in Gameweek 29 because they have triple Liverpool, triple Arsenal, Son doubles there as well. Veghorst could also easily become Broja as well if they want, if that's one of the transfers that they wanted to use. And then for Game Week 30, they would have, well, both their goalkeepers playing it. So they'd have 1, 2 with Roman Saiss, 3 with Digne, 4 with Tierney, 5 with Saka, 6, not 6 with Son. So 5 with Saka, 6 with Ramsey, 7 with Coutinho, 8 with Jimenez, potentially 9 with Weghorst. Because if Southampton lose to West Ham, then he would get thrown in there as well. And then they could also just make 2 transfers as well. So they could do a bunch of different things. I'm only taking -8 as I'm bench boosting De Gea, Ramsey, Lamptey, and Davinson Sanchez. I don't know if Davinson Sanchez will. I assume that Spurs it's Davinson Sanchez. Not sure if that bench boost would outscore Salah triple captain unless you don't have that. And even still, I'd probably save the bench boost for something a little bit better. Because fixture-wise, De Gea has Leeds away. United will probably concede to Leeds, to be honest. Lamptey is Burnley at home, so that's probably a clean sheet. Villa have Watford at home. Yeah, it just kind of depends on if Sanchez plays. If Sanchez plays both games, then you're probably looking okay. But that would be the only one that I would say is a bit of a tricky one. Do free hit teams count against ownership in the case it makes sense due to not having double game week players? So basically what happens is the way ownership is like kind of calculated, like when you see, like if you go on live FPL and you see like the ownership number, like, hey, look, this player is 50% owned at your rank or whatever, it basically snapshots all the teams and then it does the collective. So if 8 million or 9 million players or whatever it is all have their teams locked in, if every player has Salah, Salah's 100% owned. If every player has Salah and is captaining him, he's 200% owned. If only half those teams are triple captaining him and the other half aren't, then he'll be 250% owned. So that's how the ownership thing kind of works. So you'll probably see a lot of teams that will have like Bowen's effective ownership will be probably much lower because people are selling him on wildcard, or just not playing him in favor of a double game week player. Like me this week, I think it's close between Rafinha and Cancelo, but I think Spurs will probably get a goal. Now that I think about it a little bit more, it's a tricky one because I think Cancelo could easily get a clean sheet, but Rafinha might pop up with something because United and Liverpool like to give space, and United they just always find a way to concede somehow. So I think Rafinha probably has a slight more upside. I think if the United game was away from home, I think probably Cancelo is probably better than Rafinha this week. Bowen is definitely better than Cancelo this week, and I think that Coutinho is better than Cancelo this week. They both have home fixtures against teams that are in the or Newcastle a bit trickier, but Bowen's form has just been so good. Cancelo could easily get a clean sheet versus Spurs today. I don't doubt that, but Coutinho is playing Watford, who haven't scored and aren't very good. Son is tempting me. Yeah, I mean, Son, he has the double this week. Double in 29. Doesn't blank in 27. Could be good. Could be good. Same for Kane, to be honest. Also, for those wondering about Smith Rowe has been on my team for a long time, but Smith Rowe will almost certainly come in for Martinelli, who's suspended, and he'll probably get at least 70 minutes in the Brentford game, which is the easier of the two fixtures. So yeah, that's what that's the reason why he's in there. And also, when he comes off the bench, he seems to score. So even if he only plays 30 minutes in the Wolves game, maybe he scores. If he doesn't, hopefully Aitnuri's playing and I get a clean sheet. We'll see. Renatus Ayer, I think is how you pronounce it. Can I get your opinion on my team? Sure. If you post it in the chat, we will definitely take a look at it. Speaking of which, I got to look at some of the things that people sent me on Twitter. Somebody said, should I start Rafinha? So their team, I'll read it out to you, is they got Ben Foster in goal, Trent, Robertson, Digne, Tierney, Bowen, Salah, Cornet, Jimenez, King, and Watkins. I would start Rafinha over Watkins because Watkins looks like he could be getting benched this week. Again, Aston Villa forms are calling for him to be benched. I would start Rafinha over Watkins. Let's see what else we got here. So Bruna out for Salah, in triple captain, Jota out, and Rafinha in for Jota, and then Watkins out for Jimenez for -8 for another transfer. Let's see. Yeah, are there any other chips left? They have free hit and wildcard also left. Yeah, I would say if you're going to do the third move, probably Watkins to Weghorst, in my opinion. That's what I would say for that team. Let's see. All right, that's all the mentions. Let me see if there's anything else on Twitter. Also, Late Riser, someone who hosts the FPL Wire, very fantastic show, although I didn't get to watch it this week. I didn't get to watch any of the FPL stuff this week because it literally all became void the second, for the most part. Still very useful when they announced these double game week fixtures. But he says, pro tip, if you're using a chip, activate it now. If you're using a wild card, make sure it's active. If you're using a free hit, make sure it's active. If you're using a bench boost, make sure it's active. If you're using a triple captaincy chip, make sure it's active. So as you can see on mine, triple captain is active. Salah has it on him. That's what I want to do this week. Make sure your chip is active if you're going to use it, and don't leave it till the very end. A lot of people are wildcarding. For those looking potentially at Saint Maximin, he's apparently out for the game today versus West Ham. He could be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Right. There's a lot of people on Wildcard in the community. So we got FPL TV, FPL Dare, Ben Krellin, FPL Focal, Let's Talk FPL, FPL General, FPL Scout Mark. It's all going off. It's all going off. Right, here we go. So, who to bench? Broja, Gallagher, or Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Well, Gallagher has a double, but one of those games he can't play in because it's against Chelsea. So Gallagher plays Watford away. DCL would play Southampton away, and Broja plays Everton at home. I think you play Gallagher. I think you probably go with the home fixture. I think you have Broja over DCL, so I would bench DCL if that was the case. Ronaldo has sent in his team. He's got Ramsdale, Cancelo, Trent, Tierney. I like that. It's good. Salah on the triple. Bowen, Cornet, Coutinho. Like that too. He's got Watkins, Weghorst, and Broja with De Gea, Laporte, Digne, and Madison. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's perfectly fine. If I was going to bench somebody out of that, maybe Watkins, but that would only be probably for Digne. But I would make sure probably Digne is first sub, maybe. I don't know. It's close between Laporte and Digne, to be fair. I think Digne is probably more likely to keep a clean sheet, although betting against Man City is usually never a good thing. So yeah, I think that's probably about right. Yeah, if you're only playing one of those three, I would say you're playing Gallagher because Gallagher has the easiest fixture against Watford. That's what I would say. Surely Trent is safer and a better captain than Salah. I think Salah has shown that even after the African Cup of Nations, that he can play 3 games in a week comfortably. Liverpool need to win every game. Basically, they have to hope that City drop points, so they can't be trying to slip up in the league. Also, with Jota being injured, the only high goal scoring tally on Liverpool left is Salah. So I think he has to play. Also, when they line up in a 4-3-3, I think that Salah is the only player that plays the most effective off the right. Whereas you have options on the left. You have Diaz or Mane. Mane can play through the middle better than he can play on the right. Firmino is also going to play through the middle and has a backup to Minamino as well. So we shall see. Trent is safer, but Salah is more explosive. Potentially, yeah. I think if you look at things on paper, you should say that Trent's probably getting 2 clean sheets out of that, or at least he should, right? Because Leeds don't score very many goals or are struggling, and Norwich are struggling as well. So he should get 2 clean sheets. So Trent's floors should be 12 in theory, excluding bonus. So what does Salah have to do to match that? Salah would get 3 and 3 because he'd be getting clean sheets. That's 6. So Salah would just basically, like, if he scores and gets an assist, he's 2 points over that. And I think Salah could do a lot more damage than that. So I think it's not something to overthink. I think Salah, he's playing against 2 of the worst teams in the league. Both are at Anfield. You're not going to get a better triple captaincy spot than this. I don't think in many FPL seasons potentially. Like this is like glaringly like Salah at home versus Norwich and Leeds who are down the bottom. And Leeds have plenty of injuries. I think Dallas is injured now. Bamford's been out for most of the season. They don't have Calvin Phillips, and Norwich are just Norwich, right? So yeah. Nova says I left the printout of my team. If you would like to have a look, I think I did take a look. I think I liked it. So you have Guaita, Kilman, Trent captain, Robertson as well, Ben White, Cornet, Son, Saka, Coutinho, Weghorst, and Kane. Very different. No Salah, so that's I would say that'd be a bit worrying. But you do have a bench of Sanchez, Cancelo, Broja, and Ramsey, all with home fixtures. I think the bench boost is fine. Um, yeah, I think it's fine. Ben Krellin is on a wild card as well. I'm just going to check Twitter as well. So FPL Focal, he's gone with Ramsdale, Trent, Robertson, Tierney, Seiss, Salah captain, Saka, Son, Bowen, Rafinha, Jimenez, with Pope, Weghorst, Ben Mee, and Broja on the bench. So he's got triple Burnley to come in. Only has double Wolves, which is interesting, but he's gone Robertson over Van Dijk, which I think is perfectly fine, I think. But yeah, I think that's not bad. Gianni, who's on FScout quite a lot, he has a bench boost of Ben Foster, Kilman, Olise, and Digne. I think it's not too bad. I think you probably don't play Elise. He's not going to. Like, Elise probably won't play versus Chelsea, but he'll probably almost certainly play against Watford. Let's see what else. We'll minimize that. If Salah has a Salah game week and you don't captain him, your season is over. I think it would be very, very bad. But again, you have to. If you get somebody who matches him, then it's fine. Many sources are saying Trent will be rotated today. Interesting. Salah will play both, maybe 150 minutes, possibly. Very possible. That's one thing I do notice about Salah is that he very rarely gets sub like early-ish, like around like the 60, 65 minute mark. He's always like past 80 at least. But I think that Salah will play the Norwich game. I think he definitely starts in the Norwich game, especially with Jota being out. If Jota's somehow back for the Leeds game, then maybe he gets reduced minutes there, but I don't see it. That's the thing. In both of these games, if Salah starts one of them, you can easily see him scoring a hat trick in either of them. It doesn't, like, it's not out of the realms of possibility. Feel like I have to play Broja since I transferred him in. I think Broja definitely over DCL. But I think if it's Broja versus Gallagher, then probably Gallagher, because obviously he plays the easier team. Who has the worst defense recently? Let's see. Captaincy against. Here we go. Watford's defense is much worse than Everton's. Although Everton's only conceded one less goal, though, in that time. Both the defenses have improved with their new managers, but they're giving up around an extra goal in XG conceded. And much more shots inside the box as well. Jota was walking on crutches yesterday. I think that's normal, like for just like general injuries that are to the foot. They put a boot on it no matter what. If there's any doubt. It's potentially some kind of ligament damage, so who knows how quickly that's going to heal. The hope, if there's any risk for it, I think that they'll probably hold him back till the Carabao Cup final if they can get him there. Home fixture over away fixture, and Hodgson has made Watford better at home. Yeah, I mean that too. Sometimes you just have to favor the home fixture. Watford's defense is slightly worse, but Broja has the home fixture. I can see it. Now, if Gallagher could play versus Chelsea, that'd be good. But yeah, he can't obviously because he's on loan from Chelsea. Is Ronaldo an option now? Because United have no double game weeks, probably not. But this is probably where he might do good. Broja versus Gallagher matters. Yeah. It's probably going to be split evens, maybe. That's usually how FPL comes down to. Sometimes usually you're like, oh, is it this player or this player? And then they both end up doing nothing, and it doesn't really matter. It's only when you have one player and you're like, oh, I should have picked them, and then the one you don't pick ends up scoring a lot. That's when it's a bit frustrating, right? So far on from the FPL wire, he's done Ronaldo and Jota to Jimenez and Salah. Seems perfectly fine to me. And he's triple captain Salah, so his team is Ramsdale, Digne, Cancelo, Trent, Salah with the triple captaincy, Bowen, Fernandez, Saka, Dennis, King, and Jimenez. Interesting. I think Bruno could do well this week for sure. Definitely think he could do well this week. Hey Zodiac, how's it going? FPL Theorist, he has also put in his team. He's got Salah triple captain. He's brought in Saiss, Saka, and Kane for a -4 over Delo, Trossard, and CR7. He's got Ramsdale, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Robertson, Saiss, Bowen, Salah with the triple captaincy, Saka, King, Dennis, and Kane. Not too bad. Laporte or Soufal, I start Cancelo as well. Gotta start Soufal, I would think. The versus Newcastle. Both will start surely. Yeah, I think both will start. Yeah, you got to go with the team playing Newcastle, but it would just be like West Ham to draw or mess that game up. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, I think. I think with Laporte, it's slightly different. Just because of the fact that Laporte plays for the best team in England, so I think both are equally as likely. If you pick Soufal, you spread the risk, and City are very strong. And I also think that Laporte's probably more likely to potentially pick up like an actual return. Yeah, that's just how I see it. I think he's been really good on set pieces. Should have done Sterling to Rafinha yesterday and had Jimenez instead of Broja. Yeah, I mean, remember Broja has a double as well, so he doesn't have a double, but he does have a double. So we have 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes till the FPL deadline. I agree, thanks. No problem. So there's a guy on Twitter, his name is @regretfpl. He always does like these little like bulletins on initial thoughts, which is quite interesting to see. So he says, if no free hits less wildcard available, load up on Wolves assets. They have 2 double game weeks and no blank game weeks. That's true. If free hit 27, don't hesitate to triple up on Liverpool and Arsenal. That also makes sense as well because you dodge the blank. Free hit 30 is useless now. Getting Arsenal, Wolves, Aston Villa, Leeds, Southampton assets earlier than blank game week 30 is essential due to the easy schedules and double game weeks. I think that is true, but not entirely sure. I think that could be team dependent. I think if you have one free hit, it could be that might not necessarily be the case, but I think that it's a lot more accessible now, especially if Burnley and Southampton get chucked in there. Wildcard 28 is very tempting. I agree. He says Burnley assets recommended transfers after get 27. So Weghorst to Brohos / Jimenez. We've discussed that in length a bit. Burnley defenders to Digne / Wolf defenders. That's also a good option as well. Keep Rafinha. I think that's a good idea too. Because he's got a double game week in 28 as well. And he also does not blank in 30. And he also doesn't blank in 27 either. Watford's double game week 28 of Arsenal and Wolves is tough to score a goal in. That is also true. And Newcastle is a team to watch. I do agree on all of those points, apart from one about the free hit in 30. But again, we'll see kind of how it works. Because as it stands now, let's say I make no transfers. My current team for 27, I'll have 3 defenders able to play. I'll have 1, 2, 3 midfielders to play, and I'll have 3 forwards. So I need to make a transfer if I wanted to, or I could just go with 10 because I do have Weghorst who has a double. So technically I have 11 players because he has 2 fixtures, and I think that's potentially fine, to be honest. Obviously there are going to be some that are going to have triple Burnley and all that sort of stuff, but don't necessarily need it. And then if I don't make any transfers, excuse me, going into 30, I'll have Smith Rowe as a player, but you have Ramsdale 1, Aitnery 2, Rafinha 3, Coutinho 4, Smith Rowe 5. If Weghorst gets throws in there, he's 6, and Watkins is 7. So my team's not necessarily set up the best for it, but I can always free hit that to make it easier, and then wildcard out of it. That's what I've always planned to potentially do if I need to. But I would like to see if I can wildcard into bench boost 35 and then 36. It's annoying that Everton doubles after Wolves since I have 2 Everton players and would like to transfer them out for 2 Wolves players. That is also quite the annoyance. I don't think Everton's doubles it's good, but remember Everton as a team aren't the greatest. So I think a lot of the kind of doubles are mainly so in 28 it's all about Aston Villa, in my opinion. It's all about Aston Villa in that one, and Wolves to an extent. In 29 I think it's just literally the fact that Liverpool and Arsenal have a double against each other. So you basically write off I would say your Arsenal assets for that game, to be honest. Just expect them to get 2 or 1 points depending on what position they play. It's the Liverpool ones that I think will be doing the best in that. Yeah, I would say if you don't have your team locked in, make sure that you do. What am I scared of the most in Game Week 26? Cancelo for a sub. That's probably it, to be honest. I don't really care too much about Jimenez or Saka. I'm not really too fussed about Arsenal, to be honest. I have the one player and I have an attacking player in the Brentford fixture, almost certainly with Smith Rowe. The Wolves game, I don't think Arsenal are scoring. I think I predicted that game to either be like a 0-0 or 1-0 Wolves. So horse underscore 219. Hello from Cyprus. Hello. Confirmed global. We are confirmed global. Mostly scared of Arsenal players since I don't free hit in 27. Yeah. An Arsenal player is blank at 27, but yeah. Since you're not free hitting, I guess you can't bring in too many Arsenal players. But yeah, I mean, I don't see them scoring versus Wolves. I think I predicted that game to be 1-0. I'm pretty sure. So yeah. I would say if you haven't already set your team, make sure to do so. I just refreshed to make sure my team's good to go, and it is. -12 for me, says Horse. Foden out, Jota out, Lowton out, DCL out, and he brought in Robertson, Son, Cornet, and Beckhurst. Nice. I like it. Triple Captain Salah, 10 out of 11. I think it's fine. Looks good. -12 might even be a small hit, to be honest. Yeah, I think the team looks fine. I'm curious to see what like, so on live FPL it'll say like the average amount of hits taken. I'm curious to see what that number is. The number's probably going to be insane. Yeah, make sure to have your teams locked in. Let's take a look at some of the tables here. Goals imminent table. Josh King, if you have him, and Kane are the two major ones on here for players that have doubles. So if you have those players, it looks like they've been not performing recently as of late. Kane is expected to have scored 1.61 more goals than what he has. So maybe expect some returns from him. Josh King is closing in on, he should have scored at least a goal by now. An extra goal, that is. I've seen people kind of panic after yesterday's announcements. I've been very calm, and I hope it means that I'm confident in my team. Always stay calm. Cool under pressure. Salah's the top goal scorer in the Premier League with 16 goals. Liverpool the most goals with City with 61. Liverpool is playing against Leeds and Norwich. Most goals conceded in the league. Average 2 goals conceded per game. Maybe the best triple captaincy ever in FPL. Yeah, basically. Yeah, you might not get anything better. And to top it all off, both games are at home. We have the old adage of a Salah at home, Mane away. That was like the old like the adage of when to have those assets. But Salah's just Salah. He's been doing so good this season. Best in FPL history. Yeah, I think it could potentially be the actual best possible triple captaincy spot. Now I understand why people are wildcarding, because again, it's all team dependent and that sort of stuff. So yeah. Make sure to have your teams locked in less than 5 minutes. Make sure your team is locked in. Make sure your team is locked in. Make sure if you're on a chip, make sure to activate it if you are going to do so. Another guy on FPL Twitter's put Bruno Jota CR7 to Salah, Son, and Jimenez, and he's triple captain. Salah as per normal. So he's got Ramsdale, Trent, Kilman, Cancelo, Ben White, Salah with the triple captaincy, Son, Bowen, Saka, Jimenez, and Weghorst. Am I from the UK? No, Canada. Might never get such a triple captaincy ever again. Exactly. I think if you're triple captaining this week, I think you go for the likes of Salah. I think if you're triple captaining in 29 when Liverpool have a double, I think you go for Trent. That's just my opinion. And speaking of captaincy, so we got the tables here. So we look at expected goal involvement. Trent's actually been better. Funnily enough, he's been better than Salah. But Salah is Salah. And this is also for the last 4 game weeks. So Salah hasn't been playing as many minutes as Trent as well. So it is a bit different. So if we change this to the last 4 matches, and we check Liverpool players, we'll see if there's anything different. And I play FPL. Yeah, I have ties where a lot of family members like football, so yeah. Used to be big on I did like American fantasy sports for a bit as well, like NFL basketball. I'm missing one. NFL basketball, Major League Baseball. I did a lot in my teens. So we got Mane, we got Trent, we got Salah, and we got Robertson. There we go. And only show selected players, expected goal involvement. Yeah. Trent's still there. But I think Salah, the teams that he's playing are just so bad. We look at captaincy against table. Norwich is 4th worst. Leeds is 3rd worst. Or Norwich is 5th worst. Leeds is 3rd worst. Can't get much better. Do I know where Cyprus is? I don't know where it is on the map. I've heard of the place. Let me actually look it up. Let's see. Cyprus. I was going to say it's somewhere in the Middle East somewhere. And it seems like I was right. Oh, so it's just below Turkey. Okay, yeah, that's kind of... I figured it was somewhere in that area. I thought it was closer to... I thought it was closer to like Serbia, the Serbia Bulgaria, like the Balkan area, but it's further down and just underneath Turkey. So yeah, it's just underneath Turkey, out on the water, to the west of Syria, Lebanon. Yeah, nice little island. The preview image that they put, it's got a beautiful looking pool and pool house. By the way, less than 1 minute to the deadline, so make sure you have your teams locked in. Make sure you have teams locked in. Make sure you have your teams locked in. If you're using a chip, make sure to do so. If you are setting up a bench of some kind in an order, make sure to do so. If you're bench boosting, make sure to activate it. If you're using a free hit or wildcard, make sure that you are not taking a billion hits unless you wanted to do that. So yeah, make sure to have everything all sorted out. I'm going to refresh my team one more time just because that's what I normally do. So we have Ramsdale in goal, Ait Nuri in defense with Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, Rafinha, Coutinho, Salah with the triple captaincy, Bowen, Smith Rowe, Dennis, and Weghorst with De Gea, Cancelo, Diaz, and Watkins as our subs. What transfers did I make? I'll say it really quickly if I can. Van Dijk out for Johnson. Salah... Van Dijk in for Johnson, Salah in for Fernandez, Coutinho in for Jota, and Weghorst in for Edward. Because Edward doesn't look like he's going to start the Chelsea game and seems to be going out of favor with the fans. Coutinho's in for the double game week that he has in the future. He also has a better single game week fixture than Cancelo, which is why we're starting him. Salah because Salah and triple captaincy, and Van Dijk because I think the budget was slightly better for me further down the line with Van Dijk. Also, when Van Dijk is fit and available, he plays in the Premier League. Doesn't matter what competitions they have, he just always plays. That was a lot to get out. So, yeah. All right. So, that is the deadline. Everyone's teams should be locked in. Everyone's teams should be locked in. I believe the site should be donezo. It is. So, hope you have your teams locked in. Hopefully, everything is going to go well for you all this week. And yeah, let's move over to the big screen. So, thank you all for watching and joining us for the FPL deadline for intimidating and big double game week 26. Make sure to give us a follow, subscribe, retweet, like, favorite, all that good stuff on all the platforms. They're all down in the links description. Make sure to check out Fantasy Football Scout as well. And yeah, hopefully you all have a great game week. Don't stress about it too much. What's in the books is now in the books. You can't change it. Just hope that your players do well and cheer them on. Thank you all for watching. And until the next one, take care.